Hello, Nostradamus here. Hello once again for yet another edition of Phone Edge News. Going to start today looking at flooding events around the world during the past week. I've tried to put these in some sort of chronological order. So starting with this was reported last Sunday. Well, it was reported today. It was happened between the 17th and the 18th, so just over a week ago. In Guinea, this is from Flood List. 5 killed by floods in Conakry. Flash flooding hit Conakry, the capital of Guinea, leaving at least 5 people dead after floodwater caused a wall to collapse in Dabondi neighbourhood in the district of the city. That's terrible. Blocked drainage channels caused the flooding. I thought it'd have been the rain. Images on social media showed piles of garbage up to 2 metres deep strewn around areas of the Daboudi neighbourhood. I guess they don't do much recycling there in Dabundi. That was a week ago. I bet it's 100 degrees there now. That fucking stinks. You get cholera and everything. Look at the state of that. The dirty buggers. Right, what have we got next? This is from Eye on Taiwan, News Digest of the free and independent, nation of Taiwan. Well, it won't be free and independent for much longer, for China has its way, will they? They've certainly got their eye on Taiwan. Anyway, where's my mouse? Oh, it's there. Heavy rain causes floods in central North Taiwan. Inundated. Firefighters in Wugu, New Taipei City, rescued 6 passengers from a half-submerged bus. Taipei and Taichung also reported trapped motorists. Extremely heavy rain brought by a weather front yesterday led to flash floods in multiple places. Whee! We're next. Over to Iran, where it looks like President Trump's been using his weather warfare again. Storms, floods killed at least 24 people in 2 weeks across Iran, 20 by lightning strikes. And that's terrible flooding in last month. It's just ongoing. These places, what's getting flooded, they're getting flooded over and over again. It just, the weather pattern's just not changing. So everywhere's the same. Emergency aid delivered to 83 cities, villages across flooded Iran, officials say. Just continuous. Not. You don't usually see weather like this. Huh? The worst hit provinces, all of them. March and April, 78 people across Iran were killed in a month-long spate of severe weather, and now they're getting it again. Awful. These people need help, and they're stopping the help getting there. think it's wrong. Oh, over to Afghanistan from Fast News. Published today. Heavy flooding in Afghanistan kills 24 people in 2 days. Heavy flooding in Afghanistan killed 24 and injured 11 others in the past 48 hours as a new wave of heavy rain swept parts of the country. They've already been flooded. And they're getting it again. 500 people had to be rescued in the Sheba district. 220 homes destroyed. And they've had heavy snowfall this winter. So everyone's been cut off. 150 people so far this year died as heavy rain and flooding swept away homes in different provinces. Another one from today. ANI News. Many homeless as flash flood hits Tripura. And that's in India. Heavy rains leading to flash flood have left hundreds of houses submerged in North Tripura, Unakote and Dalai districts of Tripura. More than 1,000 families have reportedly been affected. National Disaster Response Force team is working hard to evacuate members of these families with their belongings to safer places. A total of 1,039 houses were damaged. If they're not getting burnt to death, they're getting drowned. Right. To Eastern Europe. Doesn't say when this was from. Oh, 19th. This was last week. Central and Eastern European countries were struggling Wednesday to cope with floodwaters swamping a host of towns and rivers. In Poland, high waters claimed a sixth life as parts of Krakow were overwhelmed. Or is it Krakow? Parts of Eastern Europe and Central Europe succumbed to heavy flooding on Wednesday as emergency services scrambled to rescue stranded people and minimise collateral damage in towns. And it's all over. Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Serbia, all reportedly hit by the flooding caused by heavy rains. The Vistula River broke its banks at Krakow, reaching a height of nearly 10 metres, its highest in 40 years. Flood barriers overflowed. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk travelled to flooded regions in his country, commenting that emergency services were not up to scratch. Water was also seen on the floor at the former Nazi concentration camp at Auschwitz. I better move on quick before I say something I shouldn't. The Daily Express. And Europe's already flooded. And now they're going to get another lot. BBC Weather. This is from today. Europe's set for nasty thunderstorms as brutal weather fronts hit continents. Nasty thunderstorms will strike Europe on Tuesday as a weather front pushes in across eastern parts of the continent. And there's Thomas Schaffernacker showing out for Tuesday. Another big soaking wet weather system. It's already at its highest in 40 years. There's likely to be some nasty thunderstorms in places. We have seen some vicious thunderstorms around the Balkans in the last few days. Rain from Rome, some reaching parts of Greece as well, and the Alpine region. It'll be hot and sunny in the Eastern Med. Apparently, it's nothing to do with climate change. It's not climate change's fault. Beavers are responsible for Poland's flooding. Now that is climate change denial if ever there was. Blame a beaver for all the floods all around the world. Beavers are to blame for the devastating floods that have swept Poland, killing 55 people because the animals tunnel through vital defences protecting the cities. The greatest enemy of the flood defences is an animal called the beaver. They live everywhere along the levees on the Vistula River and cause a lot of damage to them, Jersey Miller said. An estimated 50,000 of the large, mostly nocturnal, semi-aquatic rodents live in Poland, where they enjoy a degree of protection, animal welfare services say. However, local authorities have upped hunting quotas for the animals in the wake of the floods. So, poor little beavers, they're going to get cold, because it's their fault. Oh, what's happening in the United States? I just thought I'd put this up. This is a up-to-date map. All the black ones, river above flood stage. So, that's flooded, that's flooded, that's flooded, and we've got some flooding over here as well. And that's ready for flooding all around where it's already flooded. And this won't take much more rain before that floods as well. So all along the Mississippi Valley. And just every day, more and more storms in the same place. You've got all this hot, moist air coming up from the Gulf. And you've got this jet stream what's stuck like that. And this air meets that air, and you've got all these massive thunderstorms and tornadoes. Who knows how long this is going to go on for? And there's no crops being planted, and that's not just in the States. So while I've been on about floods, I thought I'd show this story from the Mail Online. Noah's Ark attraction is damaged by heavy rain, but insurers are refusing to cover the £1 million repair bill. The owners of the Ark Encounter attraction in Williamstown, Kentucky, are demanding their insurance company reimburse them for rain-related repairs. Sorry, I can't stop laughing. The religious tourist destination says heavy rains in 2017 and 18 caused a landslide on its access road, leading to nearly $1 million in property damage. But insurance company Allied World Assurance Company Holdings of Switzerland has refused to reimburse its clients for repair expenses. The Swiss insurance company hasn't responded to the lawsuits in court filings. Ark Encounter's complaint says the insurer later agreed to pay a fraction of the cost that it said was covered by the policy. Look at that! Ooh. The access roadway on the east side of the Ark Encounter property in Williamstown, Kentucky is shown here prior to heavy rain damage. How much? $102 million replica Ark took 6 years to build and is one of the largest timber frame buildings in the world. You've got dinosaurs on it. The Ark was built by Answers in Genesis, a fundamentalist Christian organisation headed by creationist Ken Ham. Oh, look at the damage there. Oh, that's terrible. $1 million worth of damage. We gotta do is fix the bloody fence. Replica vegetables grow just below deck. You've got two of everything. Stuffed animals are displayed for sale inside a gift shop on board a life-size replica of Noah's Ark. Well, you've got nearly two of everything. The insurance company won't give them the $2 they need to complete the collection. Anyway, if it floods there and it breaks its moorings and sets sail, you'll be able to track its whereabouts on the NOAA website. Now, in contrast to floods, let's take a look at the unrelenting heat in India. This is the hotspot earlier today, 121.2, and we're going to have a look at the forecast for the next few days. 116 tomorrow, 112 day after. Moving about a bit, the heat. Well up in the high 110s. Oh, the whole country's boiling. They're bloody knackered, them, if monsoon fails. Right, next we're going to have a bit of a space theme. This is going back to the other day when I don't know if you've heard about it, the big meteor sighted over southern Australia a fireball lights up the skies. Look at these. Can we go full screen here? No. Yes.
An explosion of light in the sky stretching all the way from Adelaide to Melbourne had some watch in wonder and others in panic. What the? Out of nowhere, this amazing flash of light. This big orange Bible coming down with a beautiful green tail. A missile, a plane crash. It triggered concerned calls to police. Unreal. We don't expect anything like it.
Looks like an atom bomb going off. Right, so here we are on spaceweather.com. And it says, here comes the torrid swarm. Earth is about to have a close encounter with a meteoroid storm. I think it already has. Next month, June, the torrid swarm will make its closest post-perihelion approach to our planet since 1975. Researchers have long known that the swarm is filled with pebble-sized debris that can cause spectacular fireballs when they hit the atmosphere. Now, evidence is mounting that the swarm may be hiding much larger objects, such as the Tunguska impactor that leveled a forest in Siberia in 1908. Watch the skies. Right. On Space Weather, they've got this table, and it shows recent and upcoming Earth asteroid encounters. And when I look at this, it gives you the date. No, it doesn't give you the date. It gives you the name of the asteroid. Asteroids are named when they're discovered. So this one is going to get pretty close, or it already has done. Went by last week. We've got any today. One today. Oh, it's miles away. See, 37 meters. There's one here. 233 meters. It didn't come close, that close, but it was only discovered this year. Now, if that had been on collision course, you can't do a damn thing about it. There's some big ones out. There must be millions of them, big ones, but we don't even know about. And any one of them could come and hit us anytime. Now it's time for a new feature on my channel. It's time for my weekly cow fart report. I have been tracking the levels of methane in the atmosphere since the beginning of March. But before I show you this week's latest levels, I just want to show you how I get my information and how I work everything out. So I'll go on to the NOAA website, and it's OSPO. And here we've got all the data from the two METOP satellites. This is METOP 1 in the morning measurements and the afternoon measurements, and METOP 2 morning measurements and afternoon measurements. So we've got four lots of measurements. And going on to mix, we're looking at methane. So you click on that METOP 1 in the morning, and we get all the information at each level in the atmosphere. What I've been doing each week is taking measurements from four different levels in the atmosphere, same level each week, to get consistent results and try and work out whether it's going up or coming down. And the four levels I've been looking at have been 931 millibars, 706 millibars, Where are we? I forgot what number. Oh, 477 and 300. So we just click on one, and you can see what we're doing is just looking at the mean on each one. So we've got 4 sets of data on each satellite in the morning and afternoon. So I've got 16 sets of data. Right, are you following me so far? So then I get the average of those 16 figures each week. And this is what we get. And then you can work out what the change has been on the previous week. And it fluctuates wildly. Some weeks it goes up a bit, down a bit, up a lot, and down a lot. So you can see it varies considerably. There was, once again, as I found out quite often, a big difference between the two satellites. Metop 1 this week showed a drop overall of 0.5 parts per billion, while Metop 2 showed a rise of 1.9 parts per billion. It did, however, give an overall rise of 0.7 parts per billion this week, with the highest rises being in the intermediate levels of the atmosphere. Now, what I did next is I've plotted a graph to show, but these are not the actual figures, because these scores up and down wildly. We'd have a graph like this. So what I've worked out is a 3-week average. So this number here is an average of those 3 weeks. So, and this one here is an average of those 3 weeks. Yep. And it sort of smooths out the graph, so you can discover any trends, whether it's stopped going down and started going up. So as we can see, when I first started taking the measurements, it was rising, and since towards the end of March, it's been on steadily decreasing. And we had a bit of a bump one week. That was on the 27th. And then it's gone back down again, but it is now just about showing signs of being on the rise. This graph by NOAA shows the seasonal variability of methane in the atmosphere. I think I've showed you this before. As you can see, it declines up until the middle of summer, and then it's just getting to June before it rises up again. And this is the natural cycle of methane. And when it's declining from beginning of May till beginning of March to the end of May, it drops down, and it looks like it's dropping down between 5 and 10 parts per billion each spring. When you look at what's been going on here, it's only dropped from 1839 to 1837.8. It's dropped just over 1.5 parts per billion. So it's not dropped as much as what it normally does. So there's extra methane going into the atmosphere this year, I think. And this should not be going up until we get into next month. So we'll keep an eye on this and see where we're at next week. And finally, I'd like to give you a quick earthquake update. I'm not going to talk about the massive magnitude 8 in Peru earlier today, as everybody's reporting on that. I want to go to these unreported earthquakes that seem to be outlining the Siberian Craton. And after going, I've been to the back-end seismology page here, and I've been through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I've pulled out a few more to what I already had. As you can see, this is the Siberian craton and all the other. So I'm expecting one to it at the southern point, and it goes around, a bit like the Horn of Africa, really. See, and around and up and over. And I've predicted one for here as well. They seem to be happening in pairs. Well, that's not an earthquake. That's where all the sulfur dioxide's been coming up. And there's an earthquake next to that, and then we had a pair of earthquakes there, a pair of earthquakes there, and then a few scattered around here. Let's zoom in and have a look. Not that far. We had that was the first one, the 4.8 on the 11th. Since then, we had the 4.9, the 3.6 next to it a couple of days later. We had this 3.8, and then a 4.3 next to it 2 days ago. And here's one I dug up, a 4.1 on the 17th, and a 4.7 on the 15th. And we got this, it's quite sizable one here, 5.4 on the eastern edge. This one was reported by everyone, the 4.8. But I dismissed this one when I first saw it, and I left it off the map. I did see it, and then I had another look at it. I thought 5.2, and it's not reported, and I thought they got it confused with that one. And I'll show you why. This is to go back 18 pages to find it. Where are we? This one here. This is the one that got reported, the 4.8 on the land, and this is the 5.2 off the coast. And I thought, oh well, it's just it's an echo of this one. And I thought, because it was only like 10 seconds, 10 or 15 seconds apart. So I ignored it. And when I got the details up, the timing's it can only be out by 4 seconds, and the longitude, it's got the epicenter with a margin of error 61 kilometers. So this is over 200 kilometers distance. So I reckon that's a separate event. So I've put it on my map. Why they report a 4.8 and not a 5.2, and they both happened virtually instantaneous of each other? I just thought that's interesting. May as well have a quick look at all below all while we're here, see what it's doing. It is at the moment we're up to 413 micrograms per cubic metre of sulfur dioxide coming up, which quite impressive considering the strong breeze of 19 kilometres per hour. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm still trying to get me nature documentary done before all the animals go extinct. Please like and share my videos, and subscribe if you haven't already. Many, many thanks to those who have already done so. Thank you. And wish me luck with my bank application for a £100 million construction loan. Peace and love to you all. Until next time, there isn't much left. Goodbye.